Welcome to the virtual award ceremony for Community Heart and Soul Heroes. Today we are awarding the award to Gary and Tina Solak from Emporium, PA in Cameron County. And Gary, I wanted you to introduce yourself if you can. Just tell us, what you do in the community. And Jess, as nominator, I would love to hear, would love for you to introduce yourself as well and tell us what you do in the community as well. So we can start with Gary.
Okay. I'm the operations manager at the local radio station, WLEM and WQKY. Other folks may know me as Gary Mitchell. Been there since since 1984. Mm-hmm. So now this is my 26th year of being with the company. Basically do the morning show from 5 to 10 and make sure that both radio stations are operational for the rest of the day.
Awesome. And your partner in crime and in life is?
Yes, is Tina Solak. She's known by Tina Johns on the radio. She's on the air from 10 to 2 on the FM side. She's also on the AM side from 7 until midnight. I'm also on the AM side from 10 until 2 as well. So there's all kinds of hats, all kinds of duties, and honestly, since COVID-19, it's been 14-hour days until most recently, and which is basically that's our jobs, and that's what we're here for, is to certainly serve the communities that our FM and AM stations touch throughout this particular area of northwestern Pennsylvania, where basically our AM station serves pretty much a 4-county area, definitely Cameron County and Emporium, and our FM station serves 4 counties, and we also stream our FM station at theriver989.com. So we've added, we've all become these sophisticated media-ites, I guess, for lack of better words, and also as well, we supply a lot of information on our Facebook pages. And since particular COVID-19, both of those particular aspects of media for us have absolutely positively exploded. Numbers are double of what used to be the views back in the day, but now with that, hopefully we're certainly providing the COVID things that we need to provide, and it's not that we haven't provided news and sports and all the other local information coverage before. It's just a little bit more intense now, where we've sometimes been called the virus, all virus all the time, but that's just the way the way things are these days in our since obviously since March. But we've always been a very, very local radio stations and local company, and so that's how Tina and I team up, and obviously also many things with the Cameron County Chamber of Commerce and Artisan Center.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for that. And we're going to talk a little bit in a second about some of the work that you've done related to COVID. But I wanted, while I bring up the award officially, Gary, to present it to you virtually, I'm going to ask Jess to introduce herself and to talk a little bit about why she nominated you guys for the award.
Okay, so I'm Jessica Herzing. I am an accountant in Emporium, Pennsylvania. I also am the project coordinator for the Cameron County project.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to sneeze. I'm so sorry. So when the email came out for the Heart and Soul communities about who we thought would want to be recognized as community heroes, I immediately thought of Gary and Tina, because we were still in the early parts of the state being closed down, and the chamber had just been deemed non-essential, and it was like those two didn't even miss a beat. So our chamber is usually a hub for communications, of like pickups and drop-offs and things and places for people to go and get information. And it's right across the street from our radio station. And it was like there was no time lost. They immediately changed hats. And not only was the news going out exponentially, like as soon as it was coming, and it was like Gary's car didn't leave his parking spot for the entire month of April, because he was always there recording new things as it was coming out. It was constantly on the radio. The Facebook page was updated like instantaneously as things were coming out. And we live in a community where we have a paper that comes out once a week. So to be able for them to transition from their normal way of doing things to see how important this information was, how rapidly it was evolving, and to be able to keep pace with that so that we could be in the know was instrumental to all of us getting our information.
Yeah.
And as this has gone on, they've continued to be a local aspect. And I think as we all got overwhelmed with the world and the state and then our area news, they've been reliable and pushing out that information not only through the radio station, but their Facebook page. And Tina continually still updates every single day, a couple of times a day as she gets it, the information from the radio's news gatherings to the local COVID site for Cameron County. Not only that, but when everything else shut down, the radio station, basically their bench outside became a hub for like mask drop-offs. So people in the community would make them and they wouldn't have a place to give them out because the senior centers closed, the libraries closed. Most of the boroughs were locked down at that point. So they would go out on Facebook. They have masks on the bench, and that was the new hub that they could, in that capacity, also absorb that in also absorbing all of the other time to get all of our information. And it's the two of them there, and they are their long hours, and they are the voice of the area for that radio station. And to step up in that way when everybody else is like trying to slow down and figure things out, I think definitely warrants this award.
Yes, that's wonderful. And I want to hear, Tina, from you. You know, the purpose of the award is exactly what Jess said. I mean, to connect to our Pennsylvania Heart and Soul communities. I know, Tina, you've been a part of the Cameron County team as they're doing Heart and Soul. And we wanted to recognize, you know, the way in which communities and community members step up in times of great need, particularly when it's really scary or challenging, because this was not an easy situation for anybody, right? And so I'm curious, like, what do you and Gary think about being, you know, recognized in this way? And why was it important to play this role or continue to play this role in the community during COVID?
Well, first off, I'll let my wife, she's a little bit better of an articulator than I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 40 years, but she could put it together. She's the more news person than I am, as far as being the writing person than I am. So go ahead, Tina.
Yeah, and you're going to catch me all emotional. Honestly, it's our job. I mean, when you decide to be on the radio, and my background training is journalism, that's just what you do. When something is happening and affecting your community, you have to, because radio is so immediate. It used to be the most immediate form. Now with 24 news cycles and news channels on TV and social media, it sometimes isn't the most immediate form, but definitely we can get that information into the hands of people that live right here in our community and make it very local sounding and very, what's affecting you? Well, you're not going to be able to have the fishing derby. Oh, this is canceled, that's canceled. I mean, the very beginning of the whole COVID was just keeping up with the organizations, the churches, the businesses, and putting it out to the people who was closed, who wasn't around. And now it has evolved into what does green mean? What do you really need to do? And it's monitoring Harrisburg and, having those conversations with the press secretary for the Department of Health and also for the governor, and asking those questions directly to those people so that people that are listening are getting the straight story. It's not hearsay. It's not, well, we think. No, we have verified it, and this is the truth. So, it's been a very interesting situation where it's been evolving. I know Gary and I are so humbled because we both really, we immerse ourselves in the community, and we're just looking out for our neighbors and giving them the information that they need to be able to run their business, get their kids where they need to be, just to function. In their daily lives. So
And that's
we
that.
don't think of it as anything special. I mean,
But-
this is our job.
But as I was about to say, that is why I would suggest to any radio manager that sees this particular video posted up,
Gary, we
Mary.
can't see your face though.
Oh,
Okay,
There you
there we go. Marry the Chamber of Commerce director. Then your job will be easier, and guess what? Her job will be easier too.
I mean, from the chamber point of view, it was making sure that our businesses knew what was going on, that they would know what they needed in order to reopen, that they would know how to reopen, that they would know when the opportunity was going to come. Out of it, I think that because of Facebook, we have created a side group that's the Cameron County Small Businesses, and we're constantly putting information out. They were, and they still are having a difficult time, some of them, getting their unemployment up and running, getting their the sanitation items that they need for their business, finding out about new opportunities. In fact, the governor is announcing today small business opportunity grants that are coming out. It's getting all of that information directly into their hands so that they can then move on and actually come out of this on the upside. So, and it was also, you know, for me, it was an opportunity to go out and talk to our businesses, because the radio did a campaign where they wanted to see the faces of the businesses that were currently open. So it was taking the phone out and videoing and talking to our businesses and hearing what they needed, and then coming back and putting the chamber hat on and just trying to find those answers. So again, it was our job. We, you know, I'm totally, and I know Gary is too, just humbled by the reaction of the community when they come up and they're like, thank you, and we're like, okay, well,
Yeah, it's our job.
yeah,
And along that line too, yeah, we're letting you know how humble we are. But we're also, I want to throw out compliments to our businesses, as we have found when we did hit green and we were allowed to so-called travel, for lack of better words. It's like night and day, and I can't compliment our businesses enough in this particular entire area, in fact, of northwestern Pennsylvania, who stayed open and fought the good fight.
yeah, and I mean stayed open legally, you know, like our restaurants. I mean, they were losing money every day, but when I would talk to them, they would say, we feel obligated. We feel like we need to provide this service for our people that live here. And, you know, we've been to State College where that is not the case, even now. You know, we have relatives that live in Pittsburgh, and hearing the same stories that basically people just shut completely down. And, you know, I worry for any business trying to restart. And I think that because our businesses kept going, they're going to recover easier than some of those that totally shut down and have to restart.
And so Tina and Gary, I don't know if you have a thought on this, and Jess, I'll also ask you as well, but talk about, it sounds like you're talking a lot about the resilience. So first of all, it's about, you know, the community, right? So recognizing that the health and safety of the community is, for you guys, it's your job, right? It's part of what you do every day. And it also seems to be a personal calling as well. And there's so much out there about how important it is for folks to feel connected and healthy and safe. And in this way, this was a real public health crisis and still is. So that was very immediate. But then on the other hand, like, I think what I'm hearing you guys say is that in you know, stories about local business and just residents, there's a lot of resiliency in Cameron County and in Emporium. And can you talk, I know you both are longtime residents, can you talk a little bit about, you know, what was it like to see that happen in a community that, you know, was affected, but also continued to move despite all of the national, you know, concern over COVID?
Well, personally, what I saw, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's the resilience. And I think it's because we are small, we are community, we are looking out for our neighbors, we are taking care of one another. From the school offering the free lunches, all the way to the restaurants staying open, to our manufacturers trying to get the permission to be considered essential so that their workers could continue. And then we have a program called Chamber Bucks. It's a gift certificate program. We've had the county commissioners, we have had a business that stayed open in the lumber industry, in the hardwoods industry. We've had the Emporium Rotary Club all come and purchase gift certificates that they have distributed to either first responders that stayed on the job, or they have given them to their employees. At the last count, I think we're close to like $5,000 worth of gift certificates that are out there floating in this community that will be used at small businesses. I mean, that just gives you a sense of community and the heart of the community and how everybody is looking out for the neighbors and each other.
And I have to agree with Tina, and unfortunately that may have changed, but if this had happened, God blessed us in this particular area of northwestern Pennsylvania. We, in particular in Cameron County, only have had 2 cases. In Elk County, which is also what we serve, there has only been 6 cases. And so we've been blessed, and that has allowed the businesses in this part of northwestern Pennsylvania to continue to, well, as you know, as we said before, hang on and be resilient. And I don't know if that may have happened if we had gotten more cases in this particular area. And we keep referring back to it because there is no blueprint for what has happened in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And really, a lot of businesses have grown outside of their box, and that's what we have tried to do as a radio station, and that is what we have tried to do as the Chamber's tried to do as well, is help these people get out of their box and expand into, because as I've said before, I mean, I'm a 40-year vet of the radio business now. Social media, who would have ever thought? And boy, social media, my goodness, that has allowed us to spread the word everywhere, whether it's promoting a business, whether it's getting the information out nationally or more so locally. It's been absolutely incredible. And as we said before, that the word is resilient for and they always have been.
Yeah.
Always have been. This is a community that this is in particular in Cameron County that had a very, very big company for so many years, Sylvania, all of a sudden pull out.
Yeah.
And then it became the powder metal capital of the world. And that has kind of died a little bit, only because of the auto industry being affected, obviously, by this all. But I think through this all, even with that particular hit, this community will survive. It'll find another way.
Yeah.
Well, and we can talk a little bit about that with the Emporium Hardwoods. They had a devastating fire a few years ago. We now have the largest, we have the ability to produce the most board feet east of the Mississippi River. I mean, yeah, we're resilient. We have a job force that's just not willing to give up. Knock us down, but we're going to come right back bigger and better. So, but again, that all speaks back to community, goes back to heart and soul, goes back to neighbors helping neighbors.
That's a great segue. And we could do a whole nother interview on the history of Emporium and Cameron County and how much you guys have, not only contributed to the state, but to the nation. I know I got a little bit of window into some of that history when I sat in on one of your value statement meetings recently. But Jess, I wanted to ask, what Tina just said about community, all goes back to community. So you talked about how you nominated Gary and Tina for the award because of what they've contributed to the community. And I know that you guys are at the spot, the team, Cameron County Project is at the spot where you guys are looking at your value statements that were created as a result of the stories you collected from individuals and what they hope to see and what they love about Cameron County. So can you talk about, is there a value in particular that you feel like Gary and Tina exemplify? And yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
I think like if they were like a value statement and they got a badge, they'd be sense of community.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to how humble they are. They're these amazing stewards of all of this information, and yet they're still sharing it out, and like they're not even talking about themselves. They're talking about all the information that they have that benefits the community and how all of that's so connected, and that sense of community. And yes, it's their job to do the radio, and yes, it's Tina's job to know about the businesses and stuff. But during this whole crisis, like not only did they step up to do those jobs, but they've added hours and extra knowledge, and they're wearing a million hats, and they're trying to promote businesses in this that is supposed to be about them. And that speaks to who they are and how much they love our community and our businesses and our residents. And they're so eager to share what knowledge they've gained, the knowledge that they've taken the time to seek out and find over hours and hours and hours of the day. And they continually do that. And I don't think that you can have a sense of community without, one, good information to share and know and be communicative about it, but also to be able to build those bridges to share what you know and to do it positively and to manage those conversations, which are often hard, especially during the COVID crisis.
Yeah.
And to walk that line of knowing it needs to get out and taking on the fact that it's not going to be easy for your audience to stomach, and to still do it because it's the right thing to do and those conversations needed to be had.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really, yeah, that's a really important point, because I think Gary said there's no blueprint for this either. I mean, things are changing all the time. And to be able to share that information is really important. And one last thing I wanted to ask before we kind of wind down, in a community like Cameron County and Emporium, which is the county seat, and some of the neighboring counties that you guys serve with the radio station, people are spread out, right? And not everybody is, it's not as densely populated as, say, a big city, or even some of the communities that are around you. Can you talk about how important it is to help people stay connected in a community that is a little bit more spread out and people are in different, very rural areas, and how you guys have tried to do that?
Well, as far as Soldier Communications goes in general, that's where I talked about getting the information out through our Facebook page, getting the information out on our website as well, because, as I said before, we've certainly had to embrace social media, because our radio station signal at 98.9 doesn't exactly, since it is such a spread out area of northwestern Pennsylvania, doesn't exactly touch each and every area. But now, since, to be honest with you, I have a very extremely tech-savvy owner, which will compliment him here in just a few seconds if I can, that knows that this is how we have to go, and this is how we have to spread the information out. And yeah, I appreciate all the thank yous, and especially from Jessica and the Cameron County Community and Cameron County Project. But I know Tina and I want to thank Soldier Communications, because our owner, we work for just one particular gentleman. We don't work for a conglomerate at all, but we work for one particular gentleman and his wife, and they allow us to do this and spread the information to the public, and have upgraded things to where we can spread that information to everybody who either listens via their phone, for lack of better words, or their computer, lack of better words, or even just checks out the website or the Facebook page. I mean, that, and that's where we take up the challenge as far as the signal not touching those certain areas and things like that. And I think Tina, would probably like to thank her board for the same thing as far as things go.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Chamber of Commerce Board has been so supportive of you know, giving me the latitude to be able to make sure that, you know, I'm updating the Facebook page for the chamber. I'm also able to put the radio hat on. I'm allowed to sometimes merge those two worlds, which, you know, are kind of unique to merge. And like Gary said, when he talked about, we could do a whole segment on local radio and, you know, the fact that we're one of the few that remain that we have an AM and an FM. We don't have 15 FMs running different formats on each one, owned by, you know, one owner or several different people. I mean, we're the way it was back when radio was heyday. And it's really fun working. It does give you the latitude to be able to do the local news, to be able to go out and do a Little League baseball game. I mean, we've done that. You know, we're getting ready to do softball games, men's softball games, because the radio station is all about local. And what are locals involved in? Well, there's a local team from Cameron County that's playing softball. Guess what? We're going to go cover their baseball games or softball games and put them on the air. So again, it's all about community. It's how we're raised. It's just getting back to your roots. And that's what Cameron County is all about.
Yeah, that's great. And so my final question, Tina, it's like you almost know what I'm going to ask next. Can you guys, all of you, I'd love for all of you, and we'll start with Tina and Gary, to, you know, for folks who don't know Cameron County, right? What do you want folks, we'll have some people on our website who will view this interview and this award ceremony. What do you guys want people to know across Pennsylvania about Cameron County and, you know, where you guys live and where you're from?
Well, one thing in particular, they don't call us the PA Wilds for nothing. Trust me. Trust me. Friends, we're talking from a county that basically has now these days, what, 4,500 in the total county? Maybe just a little bit more than that.
We're waiting on the new census.
Yeah, we're waiting on the new census. So we'll see. Or we're outnumbered by elk and outnumbered by the amount of deer or bear. I mean, when you compare animals to people, that's kind of the way we are. But what it does do is it has drawn people from out of the area because of the simpleness of our area, and you know, people that have maintained their camps for God knows how long. But it's just, you know, it's a great place. It's a great place to raise your children. There's, you know, and things like that. And that's why both Tina and I want to continue to make it a great place to live and work, so to speak.
And I think for me, you know, Gary used the word simple, and I don't want that to be taken lightly. It's very, you know, when I first arrived here about 15 years ago, to me, it was a step of, I felt like how I felt growing up. You know, the fire whistle still went off at noon. You still have the volunteer fire department. You still have a carnival. You still have Little League, and people know each other. They look out for each other. It is a real sense of community. And I know if people look at the COVID map, they're going to see that we are the lightest color on the map. And I hope that they come and that they get to experience what we love here and see the opportunities that they can move here. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, they don't have my job here. Well, telecommuting has really blown that out of the water. And we have the internet availability. We have the facilities that people can continue to work from home. And we just encourage people, come and visit. And if you find that you love it, then come be our neighbors. It's just a fantastic place to raise children, to wind down, you know, just to come and enjoy. If you want clean air, clean water, you know, an opportunity to be surrounded by green mountains, this is the place that you can call home.
Great. That's great. Thanks. Thank you, Tina and Gary, for that. Jess, what do you think about when you think about Cameron County? What do you want people to know about Cameron County besides the
We're
valley?
awesome. No, it's Cameron County's home. I think it's home to a lot of people. I think that's why we're Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and Erie's playground. I think that having camps here and in the southern tier especially, it is home away from home. It's a quieter, slower pace of life, but I've lived in Pittsburgh, I've lived in Harrisburg, and there is really nothing like coming home to Cameron County and knowing who your neighbors are, knowing kind of what's going on. And even though we might not be like as quick and everything as bigger cities are, I mean, like the fact that the radio is an amazing source of information for us and it is so local speaks to how local and how we just kind of embrace each other, our small businesses, and the nature that surrounds us. And we just love it. I don't think that people live here that because they don't like it. I think people live here because they genuinely love knowing their neighbor, love that we're surrounded by the beautiful seasons year round, and the a million ways we can recreate in nature and just still come home and have dinner and do Little League like they said. And I mean, you can walk around here and you know where everybody is and you kind of know who everybody is and people say hi to one another and that's refreshing.
Yeah. That's great. That's great, you guys. Well, thank you so much for those final thoughts on, I've been to Cameron County. It is a very unique place and it's a beautiful place too. I went to Top of the World, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
Gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous. So there's another place if folks are listening to check out. It is a beautiful view of some of the county's nature. You guys, thank you for the work that you do, Gary and Tina. I know, it's part of what you live and breathe. And for you, it's just, it's, second nature, right? It's what you do. But I think, the way in which you've been able to keep the people of Cameron County and the surrounding areas informed about COVID, particularly when there's been a lot of fear, and anxiety and a lot of information out there that people don't know how to weed through. I think that means a lot to people in your county, clearly, because Jess nominated you and people are thanking you, which is wonderful. So congratulations again for being one of our Pennsylvania Heart and Soul heroes. And Jess, thanks so much for elevating their story and for allowing us to help them tell their story even, a little bit today. So thank you all and congratulations again, guys.
Thank you guys. I mean, yeah, again, we're just blown away. When we got the email, I was like, okay, I'm seeing some of this stuff on Facebook. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Good job, Jess. Yep, like that. Yep, that's a good nomination. And then when we got this, I was like, oh, Gary, you and I were not, that thing that Jess did on Facebook. I mean, we didn't realize that this was like through PHC. I mean, I had no clue. And then got the message that you wanted to do the interview and we were like, oh, this is different. So we just, honestly, from the bottom of our heart, we want to thank everything that the organization does to help small communities like Cameron County sort through and if nothing else, bring back what do we really love about where we live and work and play and spread that positive message while we're also drilling down and finding what the people that live here would like to see also, added to. But not in a negative way, not by saying, well, we don't have. No, it's we have, and we would like to see X, Y, Z. And the whole theory, the whole process is just phenomenal what you guys do. And yeah, again, we want to thank you for all the hard work that you do. And Jess, you're humble too. You're sitting back there and you've been the little train that got this off the ground. And, forever you will have my gratitude. So thank you.
I think they're so humble. All of our stories are only shared because they share them. I mean, they're like the missing link. It's so important what they do. I love their hearts. I'm so glad that you guys decided to recognize them based on my nomination.
Yep. Yep. And I think, you guys are a connector. I think Jess is right. I mean, that, to have the microphone, right? There's some privilege in that, right? For you guys to be able to be in that position and to be able to connect, I think is really, really, really important. And to share that with the community, I think is something special. So, you guys are deserving. I hope, I want to say take a break, but I don't think that's in your nature. So.
Not allowed to take a break yet. Too much stuff to do. But I mean, like, we couldn't do anything we do without you guys. You guys deserve this love.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jess. Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Jen.